everyone, it's Ellie Mae with Silhouette Secrets Plus, and I am here today with the new electrostatic bed for the Cameo 5 models. Now I want to share a couple things with you, and then I'm going to go through this setup on how you connect it to your machine. We're going to speed that up and then show you some close-ups as well. So this is my first time. I've broke the seal, I've opened the box, and that is it. I have not taken it out. I have not done anything with it. So you're going to see, first off, just like a brand new user who has never put it together before, which is exactly what I am here on this video. I've seen it in the conference at the summit, but I have not connected it myself. So I'm going to show that in the video, but there's a couple tips first to get started. First off, as you can see, this is a large box. The electrostatic bed, as you will see, is almost the same size as this box. So you are going to have to find some place to store this, and you are going to have a setup with a table space that will support this fully. The electrostatic bed needs a completely level, flat, stable surface, or you are not going to have the results that you want, and you could have inconsistent results. The next thing I want to mention is that this electrostatic bed, or any of the electrostatic beds, including the Cameo 2, which is just a tray, you need to store flat. If your bed warps at all, it is not going to be able to hold that charge completely along that bed the way it is supposed to. I would recommend keeping the box for the electrostatic bed and storing it in the box when it's not in use. That is going to be your best protection for it and to keep it safe. If you do not use the box, I would highly recommend you do not store anything on top of your electrostatic bed. The box is a little bit more stable and has supports in it to protect the electrostatic bed. So you could possibly put this on a shelf with some very light things on top of it. But if you are not using the box to protect it, I would not recommend putting anything on your electrostatic bed, or it could affect your future. And if the electrostatic bed is damaged in any way, you would have to replace that in order to use it with your machine. That is not a machine fault. That is completely upon the user for storage and proper usage. So let's take a look at this, and I'm going to show you how to remove the front cover on the Cameo 5. Again, I have not done that yet. This is my first time doing it. I'm going to show that on camera, and I'm going to show hooking up to the electrostatic bed as well. So let's take a look.
So we're going to open this box, get everything out. That's the protective sheet with some tape that will be needed for future use. Save those instructions as well. You will need those. So there's a power plug on one end. You want to keep that clean. Carefully remove your tape. I'm looking at these instructions because when I opened the box, I had no idea what these rolls of tape were that are included in the package. You are going to want to save those instructions. It is for future use with those rolls of tape that are there. And this is what the instructions show you how to do, is to replace those strips of tape on the back side if you should ever need to. So you want to be careful with that and keep those materials. Keep your box. Going to flip the locking clips and remove the front cover. I'll cover this in a little bit more detail here in a second. There's the power plug on the front, and then you're going to carefully just connect the two together. And then you have your protective sheet. It is directional, very, very specifically directional. You want to make sure that you have it on the protective bed properly, or it will interfere with the rollers and you could damage your protective sheet. They are replaceable, and we'll take a closer look here at the electrostatic bed. Once you have that charge built up, you're going to feel that with your materials. It's very hard to show on video, but your materials will suck down to it. So here is a closer look. That is the plug end, the power plug for the electrostatic bed. It is powered by your Silhouette machine. So you're going to carefully remove the front cover. It has two locking clips. You're going to unlock that by sliding the levers over, and then you're going to carefully remove the front cover, and you do not want to do this forcefully. You do not want to break that off, and you want to keep that safe to protect that power plug that I'm pointing at there. You do not want dirt or debris to get into that power plug at all. And then you're simply going to place the front of the electrostatic bed and line it up and connect it to the machine. Ta-da, done. Very easily done. Now, I'm also going to show here how to unhook it. There's two little buttons on either end that release the machine. It releases the bed from the machine, and you want to make sure to push those. I'll show a closer up video of those at the very end.
Okay, that was not very difficult to set up at all. Even for the first time, just be careful when you're removing your cover on the front of your Cameo 5. There are specific notches here, and you just want to be careful with that. You also want to keep this in a safe place. If you are removing it for your Cameo 5 roll feeder or for the use with the electrostatic bed, make sure to keep this in a safe place. It is currently not a replaceable part, and you do want to protect the front of your machine and that power plug that the electrostatic bed plugs into. You do not want to get debris inside of that or any kind of dirt or anything, or it may not function properly. Now, very, very simple. It connected very easily into the machine, and I am simply showing a demonstration of how to load it. You do want to make sure that your electrostatic bed is stored completely flat because this is working off of an electrostatic charge. So if it is warped in any way, or there are air bubbles, or there is anything underneath the protective sheet that will interfere with that charge, it's not going to work properly. You do want to double check. So I do have the bed on. You have to turn that on for the electrostatic charge to build up. It's taking anywhere, usually it's less than a minute for me, the video is very sped up, but it did not take long at all for this charge. There is a very specific location where the protective sheet goes on top of this electrostatic mat, and very, very specifically, and I know I stated this before, but the electrostatic protection sheet on top has a very directional way to go. It needs to be placed correctly. There are no arrows. There is no designation on the actual mat. You'll need to pay attention to how you're placing that onto the electrostatic bed. If the electrostatic protective sheet is not properly on the electrostatic bed, it will interfere with the rollers on the machine, so you need to watch carefully and make sure that you have it on the bed correctly. If it gets caught on the rollers, it will flip a corner or it will damage the electrostatic protective sheet and it will not function properly. They are replaceable, the protective sheet that goes on top of this, and you want to use those protective sheets whenever you're using the electrostatic bed. You do not want to risk cutting into that electrostatic bed or it is not going to function properly. Again, that comes down to the user and using it properly. So I'm just going to briefly show this. So once it's turned on, your charge has been built up. There is links in the description below for additional tips on using the electrostatic bed with all of the machines. But I am testing this with a sheet of vellum and it is not moving. It is in place. That charge is holding the material down, and I'm going to simply press this up to the rollers and then press the load button. And it is going to load the exact distance it needs to into the machine to begin a cut. So now I'm ready to connect to my computer and get this set up. You do see that it does take more space. It is actually more footprint than the actual Curio 2 machine. So it is going to take space, and your electrostatic bed and your machine should be on a stable, flat surface. I've seen so many cases where people have placed their machines teetering on boards and things. It just is not designed to function that way, and it is not the machine's fault if it doesn't work properly. Especially with the electrostatic bed, you need that stable connection. You don't want to damage the power plug that is on either the bed or the machine, or it's not going to function properly for your future use. So now I have this ready to go. I can start creating. The electrostatic bed was really designed for thin materials. It can work with thicker cardstock. I've cut cardstock successfully with it, but the question is, how thick of cardstock? You're going to have to test. That is the biggest thing. And cardstock and card vary worldwide. So even if my cardstock in the US works well, card in an international country may be a little bit different. You need a smooth surface for that electrostatic charge to be able to build up and hold that material in place. Textured cardstock probably is not going to work very well, but you never know until you test. When you are testing, I would highly recommend that you are next to your machine and very close to your quick shutoff. I cannot tell you how many times I've already used that quick shutoff in the testing of all of my new machines. It is a great handy feature to have. Your project is lost when you press that button, but it stops immediately. Now, one more thing before I let you go. In order to unhook this, you want to make sure that you unload the electrostatic bed, pull out on this to remove it from the machine, and then in order to release it from the machine, I'm going to turn the power off here. There are two little buttons on the front of the electrostatic bed. You want to push those down, and then you can carefully remove that from your machine. So you do not want to force it. You do not want to have those break off at all, because that is what holds it securely into the machine. So be very careful when you are using this and taking it, installing it and uninstalling it. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to place it back in the box. You want to keep all of this packing material. These are very important instructions. As you use your machine, you're going to need to replace these, and that is your instructions on how to do that. So down the road, when I need to do that, I'll have another video out on that, but I'm not going to simply do it just to show you. So make sure to keep those instructions in the box. Store your electrostatic bed in the box. I will have additional videos out. Check the description below for links for additional information. But I'm going to get to playing and have some fun with this. Thanks for joining me, and have a great day.